حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحييتنا واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا اللهم على من عادانا ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا اللهم ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا يا رب العالمين أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وعنا معهم إلى يوم الدين In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him. And he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fixing some misconceptions regarding the Qadar. This is our topic today. Now, the idea of Qadar, fate, predestination, now is something really needed to be explained every time and then, because it's a huge area, which is, it's part of the faith. And it is mentioned in the articles of faith. أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره. When you accept Islam and you declare that you are a Muslim, the articles of faith, the pillars of faith basically, the sixth one of them is to believe in fate, to believe in Qadar. This is a huge area. Definitely it will not be covered in 20 minutes. We have just 20 minutes or less. However, we can fix some basic misconceptions, or at least to leave this place, inshallah, with some kind of tranquility in your heart to understand some of the basic concepts that could lead people around you to some kind of, anxiety or some kind of psychological harm or mental harm inside their thinking. Now, big questions. Does Allah know the ghaib, ya Shaykh? Yes. Is it true that Allah has ordained everything in advance? Yes. Is everything maktub, written? Yes. Where is my free will in this equation? This question, for example. This is if we make it from philosophical point of view. And in many cases, if someone is facing a disaster, a difficulty, illness, lost his father, his mother, her husband, his wife, son, any problem, any disaster at life. Ya Shaykh, where is Allah? Why Allah is doing this for me? Here comes the misunderstanding, because the idea of Qadar is not clear. Because and we have a lot of questions from this type, hundreds if not thousands of this question. So therefore, when you have some kind of, inshallah, genuine knowledge about this area, this will give you at least, let's call it in the medical language, a vaccine. Vaccine to prevent you from delving into the dangerous area of having bad idea about Allah, or God forbid, hate Allah, or wal'iyadu billah, thinking about rejecting Allah, i.e. atheism, by this vaccine. So today's khutbah could be somehow a vaccine, just to have an idea, okay? Now, from my humble experience in dealing with this idea for more than 30 years, let me please share this with you. Now, I will divide my talk into 3 main files, you need to have them. Then a story from the Quran, to give you some kind of application for what I'm claiming. File number 1, don't get into the area of Qadar. Don't think about it, don't deal with it, don't discuss it, unless after bringing with you the fact that Allah has names and attributes. Al-Asma wa Sifat al-Husna. You need to know that Allah is not just a philosophical idea. Allah is Ilah subhanahu wa lahu al-asma' al-husna. His attributes means something. The most important 4 attributes you need to bring them into your mind when processing any question has to do with Qadar are the following. That He is Al-Alim subhanahu, and that He is Al-Qadir subhanahu, and I'll explain in English and why we need this, and that He is Al-Hakim subhanahu and Al-Adl. You need to know that He is the all-knowing, He knows everything. You and I don't know everything. He knows everything. By everything, I'm talking about the ultimate everything. Number 2, He's Al-Qadir, the most capable. Ultimate ability to do and accessibility to do whatever He wishes, whenever He wishes. You and I myself can't. So we are not talking about someone who's a little bit bitter, Superman. No. Forget the stories and the comics, Marvel and Netflix and Disney. Forget these things now. Okay? Forget the Greek myths and this kind of old things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. The ultimate power of everything. Al-Alim. Ultimate knowledge. Al-Qadir. Ultimate full power to do and access to do whatever He wishes, whenever He wishes. Number 3, Al-Hakim. The all-wise. And one of the very good definitions of Al-Hikmah are to put the right thing in the right place, the right time for the right person. Which means, by the way, hikmah is based on ilm. No one can be hakim without having knowledge. It's impossible. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, is able to do everything. You need to know that before asking and replying to any question in Qadar. And He does not do anything but with full wisdom, and He's an adl. No injustice that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though He's able to do anything. But He declared it clear. يَا عِبَادِ إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا. O my servants, I have declared upon myself and ordained upon myself that I prohibited on myself to do injustice. So be careful not to do any injustice between yourselves. So, why we need these 4? Because the question, does Allah know everything? Yes. But if Allah knows why He is... Oh, okay, wait. Don't just mention the knowledge without talking about hikmah. Don't just mention, like for example, the very common question of atheists. The very common question, which is called the problem of evil, مشكلة الشر. They say, Doctor, the God that you believe in, is He merciful? Yes. Is He capable and able to do things? Yes. Why He's leaving the children with cancer? Why He does not stop the war in Syria now? Where is your God? I said, brother, without you noticing, you have decided that this God has just two attributes. Is he merciful? Yes. Is he able? Yes. But you forgot that he is wise and knowledge, and he's doing this for a wisdom. And you forget that out of his wisdom, when he created the universe and created us, he told us that and we are in a big test. So this person, he decided to pick and choose just simple part of the equation, put them in himself. Is Allah merciful? Yes. Is Allah merciful? Wait, who told you that I'm so naive to respond to you in your way? If you are, God forbid, not yourself, if you are a sick person, you have some kind of illness or disease, you came here and a professional doctor, I will not decide how to treat you according to your wish. I will decide it to my knowledge and my hikmah, not according to what you want. You come and submit yourself if you trust me. I am the one who's a doctor, for example, and you have the pain. You give me the pain and I will tell you what to do. Let's enlarge this. So number one, the attributes of Allah. On top of them, al-ilm wal-hikmah wal-qadr, that I have highlighted. Now, without having this in mind, don't discuss. Don't even think. You yourself. First, wait. Bring this, then think. Needed tools, number one. Number two. Now, you have to prepare yourself when discussing the idea of Qadar without too big attitudes. If you are not ready to trust and to submit, you are wasting your time. You and any non-believer, like Orientalists, are the same. It's not just the knowledge. You need to trust. وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. If you don't have full trust in Allah, simply you are wasting your time. And this is basic part that comes out of your iman. For example, you can't have doubts against Allah and you can't deal with Allah on the basis of testing. Okay, I will see this God. If he's good with me, I will accept him. Otherwise, no. Can you go to a doctor in the hospital after having a big problem in your health while having doubts? You can say, no, he will. You are suffering. You went to the professional. Everyone told you this is the man at the hospital. Took you 8 months to take an appointment. You went to him. He's telling you, look, I will do. I say, excuse me, I have doubts in your stuff. I don't trust your knowledge. Show me where did you do your degree. I want to give you the medicine. No. Still, I don't believe in you. Okay, I don't trust your time. Out. Yeah. You will not be treated. You will not be treated. If you don't trust Allah, you will not. Because this is, doubts. It's against trust. Plus, after having that, be ready to submit. Or otherwise, what is the core point of Islam? Islam goes to two radicals, two root verbs, silm and taslim, submission and peace. By submitting yourself to the will of your Lord, you will achieve peace. You want peace? Submit. No submission, no peace. How did I conclude this? وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. It's not my word. The one who decided to reject my way, I promise him that he will be living in a miserable status. Simply knowledge, realizing, ready to trust, submit. Otherwise, please don't waste your time to discuss the idea of Qadar. Now, third, 5. You need to know, before giving you the example, that your life, in what pertains to the area of Qadar, is divided into two main parts. Part you are forced to, you have no option, but there is no accountability. The good news. Because many questions, Allah forced us, yes, I know, as Allah has forced us to many things. But anything you are forced to, there is no accountability. For example, I did not have the choice when to be born. Has anyone of you? No. I did not choose my mother or father. Nor any one of you. You did not choose your color, your sex, male or female, the exact time of birth, who's your aunt, uncle, stepbrother, sister, all of your relatives, the place, your nationality, many things you did not choose it. So there's no accountability.
There's no accountability in the day of judgment. The angels will not come and say, for example, according to this, everyone was born in Palestine and Jordan and Bilad al-Sham, yalla, to the hellfire. Fadl. For the fact that you were born there. And anyone was born, for example, in whatever, okay, get to the Jannah. This is our iyadu billah, no, will not. Anyone with a, for example, black color, for example, will go to the Jannah. Anyone with white color will do to Jahannam. No. It's nothing to do. We are forced. No choice, so no accountability. Let's close this file. Let's come to the other part of our lives. Anything you know you have a choice, you have an option to do or not to do, go to the manual. Is it permissible or not permissible? Now you need the knowledge. You have the option to choose. Am I allowed or not allowed? Yes or no? Here comes what we call al-ahkam al-khamsa. The 5 verdicts that we know. Wajib or fard, compulsory. The other side, prohibited. Here is something you must do, you must not do. In the middle, we have mubah, permissible, open. Great area, mubah, permissible. In the middle between mubah and wajib, which is the permissible and the compulsory, you have the mandub or the mustahab, the recommended or highly recommended. Between the permissible, mubah, and the haram, which is prohibited, you have the makruh, not recommended. So whenever you want to do something, you go to the reference point. Which one of them according to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I allowed or am I allowed? I have the option. You know that it is haram. You did it, sin. You can repent and delete. You decided not to repent, it's in your scale. And anything, you have an option. So in light of this understanding that Allah has attributes, Hakim, Alim, Qadir, and you need to trust, and you need to submit, and part of your life, which is you are forced and it's not part of your accountability. So don't waste your time to ask why and when, because simply we have no problem the fact that we are forced on some certain things as long as we are not accountable. What's the dalil? If you are forced to go to the Jannah, who will reject? Can you imagine anyone with the slightest amount of brain, not power of intellect, just part of dimag, not just aql? He said, hey, you will be forced to go to Jannah. I said, excuse me, I'm a free person. No one will force me. I want to go to Jahannam. Can you imagine someone will do it? It's impossible. It's impossible. So we don't have a genuine attitude with the idea of being forced as long as we are not accountable. The dalil, if you are forced to go to the Jannah, definitely you will say, Alhamdulillah, yallah, to the Jannah, force me, I have no problem, I will enjoy it. The idea, in case I was forced to go to the Jahannam without giving the option to change or to defend myself, this is injustice. In light of these introductions, let's understand the very beautiful way of classifying the 3 main categories, and this is the final point in my talk. I will be quoting the story that you know it, and we mentioned it many times. We know it. The new thing could be just the classification of the story that you know. We know the story of Musa alayhi salam, Surah Al-Kahf, with Al-Abd al-Salih, the righteous, which is Al-Khadr. Allahu a'lam. Now, we know it. We know the 3 stories. We know the discussion, everything you know it. Let's look to the new classification in light of what I have highlighted now. Category number 1, which could be applicable on some of us or many of us or all of us. Category A. He witnessed something, he thought it's evil, bad, illegal, wrong. How come? You dig the hole in a ship? How come? In just a few minutes or 1 hour, they discovered the wisdom that Allah wanted them to be protected from a zalim king, from a tyrant. They were very happy. Alhamdulillah, he did not take us. Why? Because of the hole, which was made, in theory, it was superficially evil. How come? This is bad, this is evil. No, this is what you thought. This is category number 1. You witness what seems to be bad or unwanted or hated. In a very short time, you will witness the wisdom and you will see the beginning and the end. One of the examples that I use it many times, you were killing yourself to work in a company. or to go to university. You applied, you were rejected. You felt very bad. All of your friends, they went to that university. 5 years later, you are looking at yourself because of the university that you were pushed to, and you were not loving going to it. Allah made it easy for you to know the best huffaz of the Quran. You had a PhD or whatever. You studied, for example, a doctor or an engineer, good reputation. You became a hafiz because of university, because of the group that Allah made it easy to know them there, and you became much more better in your life in that university. You looked up, searched to the group that they were with you, and all of them, they went to the university that you were killing yourself to go. 2 of them, they are atheists. 2 of them are drug addicts. 2 of them in jail because they were rapists and pedophilians. But why? Because the environment they went there, it gave them the arrogance and whatever, regardless. So, oh my God, if I went there, I could have been there, yes. This is an example, just to make it easy, to make, the idea of a safina that it was digged, and I feel angry. But why? Look, this is the benefit. You don't know. Allah knows. You have no full wisdom, Allah has. And so on. This is category number 1, to understand the qadar of Allah. Category number 2. Category number 2, the young man was killed. لقي غلاما فقتله. أقتلت نفسا بغير نفس. How come you are killed? This is a killing. Now no one knows that except Allah and the 2 at that time. For the parents now, when he was explaining, وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامُ فَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ فَخَشِينَا أَن يُرْهِقَهُمَا طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا فَأَرَدْنَا أَن يُبْدِلَهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا خَيْرًا مِنْهُ زَكَاةً وَأَقْرَبَ رُحْمًا. Look, now behind the scene, what you don't know and I don't know, Allah knows that this young man, his life should stop now. Whether by a car accident, whether through the fire, or a virus, or whatever, or cancer, stopped, end. If he continued his life, he will be the main reason to make the life of his parents hell. So Allah stopped his life because of their acceptance. They were mu'mineen. Allah gave them another one. Look now to the interesting part of the story. They did not know that. They were replaced with a good righteous. They lived happily. They kept making dua for the one who passed away. And they have no idea that if he lived, they would be living in a hellfire. That's why we need submission. That's why we need to trust in the decision of Allah. I can't bring my son back. Alhamdulillah, أن العين لا تدمع، أن القلب يحزن، إن على فراقك يا إبراهيم لمحزون ولا نقول إلا ما يرضي ربنا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. To Allah we belong and to Him we return back. Third category, which is the final, and finish my khutbah. Third category is the most serious one, and the most sophisticated, complicated one, and the one which is completely applicable 100% on every single person of us 24/7. Look, it's amazing. Wallahi, it's amazing. Look now, 2 kids, they are orphans, sleeping at home. They used to have a righteous father, Abtaqi, Mu'min, Salih. He's in a grave. Can you imagine? He's in a grave. They are sleeping. They are young, not mukallafeen. They are not legally accountable. So they have done nothing to deserve a gift or tawfiq min Allah. They are outside the full equation. Sleeping at home, the father is already dead in grave. For the sake of the Salih father, Allah sent 2 prophets to work construction workers, to dig the filthy, dirty soil, to work with stones, to preserve a treasure no one knows about it except Allah, for the sake of 2 kids. When they when they became 10 years, 15, 20, Allah knows. When they became a very strong 2 men, maybe 20 years later, for them they will be digging or planting the seeds. Oh, I found a treasure. No, Habibi, you did not find a treasure. It is your rizq that Allah has placed there long time ago. The decision has been made millions of years in our words. And it's your rizq waiting for you. But you don't know that 2 prophets made the wall on it for you. You have no idea. 2 prophets. One of them is Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam, Kalimullah. He was working as a construction worker for you. And you don't know. He will, you see, this, no one knows about this thing at all, nor the father, neither the two sons, no one except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the most important part of the Qadar. Now while we are sitting, Aqdarullah is working by trillions and trillions and trillions of complicated things for every single person of us. And every time I highlight something like that, some of them say, but how come? I say, you tell me, how come when you do your search on Google browser system, you made keyword, just put a word, search, in less than a second, 18 million results. How? Look at Google. You put a keyword, press like this, still you have not finished your pressing, 18 million results for your research out of trillions. How? If you can answer how, we'll try to see how Allah does it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forget the how. Now, by believing in this, accepting this, trusting in this, submitting to this, you will have the full peace of mind in Aqdarullah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is just, as I told you, just like a very short, intensive way how to fix some of the possible misconception about Al-Qadar. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين. إن الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم ارحمنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض يوم العرض عليك يا كريم. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولوالد والدينا وأصحاب الحقوق والواجبات علينا يا كريم. اللهم اغفر لأموات المؤمنين والمؤمنات جميعا وغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد وتجاوز عن خطاياهم ونقهم من الذنوب والخطايا والآثام كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس. اللهم إنا عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك وأنزلته في كتابك وعلمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأقم الصلاة.